Well, hi there, YouTube. Well, I'm glad to be able to put up a video today, and there's been some question of late about the purpose of chemtrails. And I can specifically tell you that it has to do with weather modification, whether it is to make it rain, make it not rain. Uh, One of the purposes of it not making it rain is to handle the ground temperatures. So if you have a dried out ground, it's a lot easier to manipulate than, say, a ground with a lot of moisture. So that's why you see tons of drought. One thing I want to also point out is that back in 2003 or two, 2002, 2003, um, and they knew this was coming, but the sun has changed its brilliance. And that's where we actually get a lot of our radiant heat that heats up the ground and heats up our atmosphere, expanding our atmosphere, collapsing our atmosphere. And there's been an intense change in that brilliance. And a lot of times people talk about coronal mass ejections, coronal holes, and all that energy. Yes, all that energy is also streaming our way. And but the sun's corona has expanded exponentially and increased its brilliance. That's why you see a silvery sun in the sky now at noon, and of course you see the yellow sun in the morning at night. And that's another reason why they block it out in the morning at the night, because of its so-called perihelion, its arc, its direction of that brilliance coming straight at the Earth's surface. So that's why you may see them blocking it in the morning and at night. And it's also to control ground temperatures, so it makes weather modification a lot more controllable on a micro scale. Um, so that's why you see it in the morning and at night. And yeah, they want to block the sun's brilliance. Okay, that's what it's all about. Can anybody also tell me what this vehicle is right here? I could tell you. That's why I use it as my handle here, as my picture of my avatar of my channel. And this here, my friends, is one of the mobile observation and weather control vehicles that they roll around with, that you might see these telltale harborings and things of that nature during severe storms. They get these guys out there. As you can see, there's an antennas up there for monitoring wind and all that. And it's built to design to withstand a tornado. Okay, so kind of like one of those mega storm chasers. Okay, and this is a government vehicle. All right, notice the front plate there. But this is a government vehicle that was photographed in Nebraska before we had some very, very severe storms there earlier. And but yeah, we happened to capture one of those. Wanted to show you that. And that's the brilliance. Here's the. Now I understand that some of this is lens flare, but I wanted to point out here. This is the change that you're seeing: a white sun versus a yellow sun. Okay, and that the corona around the sun, imagine this is the actual corona, has expanded and increases brilliance and heat. And that is why they use chemicals, and I'm not saying all of it is metallic, especially not all of it is metallic, and but it is nano-sized and aerosolized metallics, and what's some people call smart dust, but actually what it does is that it's attracted by the sun's heat or corona, okay, the brilliance. And if you'll notice that this stuff always gathers around the sun itself, because chemically that's what it's designed to do. Okay, it reacts and has very low boiling points and follows the heat currents that are generated in the air from the sun's brilliance as it then, and also as the heat comes up from the ground. All right, you wonder, where does all this stuff go? Well, at night it actually falls to the ground and into your soil. Some of it stays aloft, but a lot of it falls down, and a lot of us end up breathing it. This is a picture that I took on May 20th of 2011, when we had a eclipse, lunar eclipse, as the sun was setting. So, you know, when the people are trying to say we're trying to block out a celestial object, um, you know, I think this would be a practice run. They would have, you know, well, of course, why would you want to block out an eclipse? But It's just some good pictures that I took here of it. But I wanted to note here, see the brilliance? Now, I talked to a lady who lives here in town. She's approaching 80 years old. And she said that back when she was a teenager, the sun wasn't that hot. Now you stand out in the sun and you get toasted, okay? And get burned. And even in the shade, it's hot. So she even notices a difference from when she was a child until lately. She said lately, now the sun is just ever so hot, and that is true. Now they got studies that are saying 20% of the Earth's sun is not making it to the ground, and that's because they're out there blocking it out. Because I believe that the brilliance of the sun may have increased in magnitude of 50%, and they're blocking that out. That's what they don't want you to see, because then you wouldn't be able, not just not wanting to, you wouldn't be able to go out shopping. All right, shopping at their Walmarts, buying up their gas, supporting their petrodollar. It would just literally become impossible. This is what they don't want to tell you. Okay, and there's another picture of the eclipse bird over there. That was a pretty good catch there. And it's another of the brilliance there. You can see the clouds going in front of the sun. Okay. And another picture of the sun setting and the moon over here now. All right, which is I thought was a little weird. You get this over here and then this over here. So yeah, stuff is happening in a celestial manner. But they let us see comets all the time. They let us see Halley's. They let us see all the ones that have gone by. Ison, there's a little bit of give and take there. Talk about Planet X, and they say that. Now here's my take on this: that if there is a Planet X, and they announced it back in the 50s, and they said, "Oh, we don't got to worry about it in 30 years," and now it's 30 years later or more. And Planet X actually zipped into our solar system and parked itself in our solar system. Okay. And it's kind of like he's got that forward motion. It didn't affect its tail at all. So all that stuff it was carrying came forward and into our solar system, and all that dust. That's why you see red clouds all the time. It's actually raining that cosmic dust on top of us. So that's what you are seeing going on, and stuff with like where did Comet Ison come from, etc. Uh, Now, one thing I think I seen chemtrailing at night, and I see it during the day, and I think if there's any celestial things that they're hiding, it's that if they stopped, you'd look up, you'd see major meteorite showers every night, and that would probably scare people too with the fireballs, etc. So they might be screening some of that out from your view, because you actually be seeing this stuff happening during the daytime. I want to get through these photos here as we see um, how the moon jumped from here to here as it's setting, but we'll get into that, because I do believe that the Earth is wobbling and does jerks from time to time, from one side and then back up to the next. Now, this is a photos that I took personally myself when I took a trip out to California, and I flew. And as you can see out there in the distance, there's your chemtrail. So they're up there. I'm at 36,000 feet in this photo. And so you can tell that even above 36, you're probably looking at closer to 40,000 feet here. That they even chemtrail that high. And when you're down at the ground and you see them go over, they looks like they're only at 10,000 feet. That's because, or 15,000 feet. It's because that's where they are too. They layer the atmosphere in these chemicals, so that as the radiance penetrates through, that only so much makes it to the ground, because you can't stop it all, but you got to regulate it. But you still need your sun. Otherwise, we'd have the breakdown of, and I've seen this happen with certain weeds, breakdown of the photosynthesis that happens that creates the chloroform in plants, and so plants are discoloring into a purple instead of a green. And as you can see, more chemtrails out here. This is all chem deck 2 below me, by the way. They're all clouds hitting above, and all this stuff falls down and forms the deck. But they do it in layers, and I'm going to show you the layers. Okay, well, this is when this was the one plane that I was flying in. Okay, when taking those photos, disembarking here. How do you disembark this way at Denver Airport? which is beyond me, probably because I had a smaller plane, but to get there. But we were now. I also want to point out, for to all good things to Henning Kemner, planes don't fly through here. They fly up and down and through it. Yes, and it does damage the engines. My uncle is a technician that works for United, and he says they are complaining about damaged engines and that are actually with that fine dust that gets in there, it buffs it, okay, like a buffer would, instead of leaving scratches. So they're finding ultra smooth surfaces where they shouldn't happen, and sheening that's happening inside the engines. Well, here are two photographs of the geoengineered planes on the tarmac in Denver. As you can see, as I zoom in, you see no windows. They got the caps there, though, on the engines themselves, so these are probably backup crap, but no windows. See? The bleach white, no window planes. I found a couple of them parked there, thought I'd do a snapshot there. Here I am again on my flight out. I wanted you to point out there's the clouds down below me, and you'll see the shadows on the ground. Okay, they want to put the clouds so they can cast the shadows and cool off the earth, because that's how you manipulate temperatures. You manipulate temperatures, you manipulate wind patterns, weather patterns, and so you really got to work with that ground temperature. And as you can see, the clouds that cast themselves down here, and they can control the snow melt and how much snow melts when and how. Now remember, we just had the Colorado floods. Well, the snow was up there before. They had to, control how all this snow melted. So the clouds actually cast a shadow down on the ground, and they count on that. As you can see here, more shadowing. As they layer, they put the decks up to put the shadow down on the ground to control the temperatures. That's why these decks seem to move with the sun. Okay, because they're chemically manufactured to do so. More layering, more chemtrails here. These are obvious chemtrails. I have a few photos of them actually flying by the plane. Here's one. See? Now that's considered a near miss, by the way, in FAA terms. They're not supposed to be flying that close to commercial air traffic. And commercial air traffic, this guy that's flying the plane couldn't see this guy coming unless he would have this tail out. Okay, they can't communicate with the towers because this is the military guy. All right? This is a commercial guy, and they're not allowed to talk to each other. You're not allowed to listen in on military frequencies, and so they can't talk to each other. So they leave these marker trails so these guys can see them with their naked eye. Otherwise, they'd fly into each other. All right, it's just about communication between private and military. And so when you see them up there with the short tails, they're markers so they can see each other. And because they're not allowed to talk to each other, they can't see each other on radar or anything like that because their beacons run on a different frequency. Okay. Here's another one close, coming that close to us. That's not taken with a zoom at all. Another near miss. When I was on this flight, one went right underneath our aircraft, missed us by a few hundred feet, and it made the whole side of that aircraft gasp. And when I got off the aircraft, I thanked the pilot for missing these guys, because he saw them, I'm sure. And he smiled at me, okay? And nodded his head, said, yeah. Because we're watching these guys fly back and forth. Everybody in this plane, after we had the near miss, went just a couple hundred feet underneath of us. More guys close. All right. And here you go. When you're flying at 38,000 feet and you think they're flying through clouds, actually there's corridors. Bottom deck, top deck. This deck is probably at about 40,000 feet. Bottom deck is at about 30,000 feet. I'm at 36,000 feet. Okay. Well, anyway, that's me. That was my story. It's all about the radiance of the sun. All right. It's about that heat that's coming off of that mad sun right now. Okay. And trust me, Planet X may have parked itself out there. Okay. And sent all this stuff coming our way and changed our sun. Okay. And I think that's what's exactly going on. That's my theory behind it. I'll work on trying to prove that more for you. But it's about geoengineering, okay? It's geoengineering the planet because things have changed in our solar system, all right? On Mars, on Jupiter, on Earth, on Venus. And so we are doing what we can do to what they call mitigation. We'll take care of that.